Welcome everybody, this is Brothermutant here. Today we're going to continue our quest to find another Arcane Bloodline build to compete with another Eldritch Scion Bloodline that we've already shown a video for. In this case we're doing the one I said I probably wasn't going to do, the Infernal Bloodline. I felt like I was cheating you guys by not doing it. It's not that this is anything special. There's a couple tricks that we can employ, stuff that we've learned while doing these videos, and I wanted to kind of showcase that a little bit. But this is going to be a competitor directly to the Infernal build. The Infernal build, if you recall, was somewhat of an enchanter, even though they really shouldn't have been, and somewhat of a point-blank master when it came to raise spells. So that was their bread and butter. So a dex-based build, more of the same here. However, we went human this time instead of tiefling for obvious reasons. We wanted extra skill points, and I love having an extra feat. Now, I didn't really need the extra feat, it turns out, but it never hurts to have another one, and I didn't grab things like blind fight, so there you go. Right there is an example of something you could put in place of what I didn't pick. I could get a weapon focus in an actual weapon like a rapier or a kukri. So again, on you what you use for that extra feat for. But we're going to get a bunch of stuff early on, and I'd rather have it sooner than later. Because we went human, went chaotic good, opposite, if you will, of the devil kind, so lawful evil for those evil devilish bastards. A solid strength of 10, 18 dex, con 13, 12 intelligence, 10 wisdom, 16 charisma. We'll put a point in con, 2 in dex, and 2 in charisma, probably in that order. Why did I go con instead of, say, bumping strength or even getting intelligence to a 13 and then to a 14? Well, because we're human, we don't need to invest as much in intelligence. We're already getting a free skill point every level as a result of being human. Not to say you can't use more. More is always better than less. But I did like having extra con. More fortitude was another reason for it, as well as some extra hit points. So again, plenty of good reasons for wanting to go con. If you must, and maybe you wanted to put it in strength, feel free to do so. I'm not telling you you can't. I have plenty of times where I have a character where the strength is 14 and a dex is 18. Nothing wrong with that, because again, just because you're a dex-based character doesn't mean you don't want to do a little extra damage with your swing. And again, that +1, +2 may not be amazing by the end of the game, but for the first 3-4 levels, it's extremely helpful. But I feel like we'll be okay without it. From here, just to point out, for there are 2 free feats that we get at level 1, one for being human, of course. We got Weapon Finesse for one, and then Arcane Strike for the other. Again, kind of making up for the fact that I don't have a high strength stat. So that's how we're going to start. Now, we're going to carry this build all the way to 20 as an Eldritch Scion. And go Magus. You'll notice I've been investing in everything with a green check mark, and again, you can pick Lore Nature or Lore Religion at level 1. I just picked Religion just because I'll just unlock things, basically. Everything will get a point, but by and large, the things that will be maximized, or at least have high numbers, will be Arcana, Perception, and I'll even be able to get Persuasion pretty high thanks to us being a human. Those extra skill points at every level, that's really, really nice. Now our spells will be our staples, your typical melee touch attacks, your buff spells, of course raise spells. We're not going crazy, but we'll grab a decent smattering of them, and of course as well as the ones we can get when we level up for free spell picks. But we are still going to go enchanter, and I know the devil build should have not been an enchanter. We did that because they were supposed to get a bonus to their charm spells, a +2 no less, and I just assumed that, oh, maybe there was just a typo and that they actually meant, just enchantment spells in general. Sadly, no, they did not. They actually really did mean charm spells, and they took all the charm spells out, so there are none. So there's no bonus that they get to any charm spells, so it's obviously a bad idea to go enchantment. Having said that, I still want to stick with the same theme, so I said, okay, we're going to be an enchanter that does point-blank master. So that's basically the build. Because we don't get enchantment spells, as you know, until we literally pick them for free, we're going to grab some spells that can help us out a little bit. Color Spray being a fine example. If you don't like that one right now, we can go with Reduced Person for some extra armor, extra dexterity, extra bonus to your swing. Extremely useful spell, so let's grab Reduced Person first. From here, remember we're getting bonuses to our concentration check, magic missile spell for free, stuff that they don't get for free. Perception up, I'm going to put Arcana up a little, I'm going to put a point in mobility just to unlock it, and from there I'm going to actually get Arcana all the way up to 3 so it catches up with Perception. And from this point we'll keep both of those steady Eddie the entire time. Now we're going to grab Point Blank Shot. Now you could have kited at this level, I'm highly suggesting you don't. It's not that you can't. You already know how to do that, but then you wouldn't have grabbed the spell that I grabbed. So that's going to be a thing. You want to grab yourself something like Expeditious Retreat now. Here's Extended Magic, nice way to buff your duration of like your shield spell, Expeditious Retreat, Reduce Person, Blur. Obviously only 3 in a day, but again, a solid pick here. I'm going to actually grab Color Spray, though, instead of Expeditious Retreat. Helpful. I'm getting more and more used to spells like this, setting it up. It's got a very narrow cone, and it's not teammate friendly, but I still think we can get it to land. And early levels, it is extremely useful. Later levels, obviously not so much, but still a helpful spell. Going Magus. I'm going to put a point in con, so now we're done with it. Nice solid bonus to our HP, as well as a little up for our Fortitude saves. Perception and Arcana, we're going to take that one. Probably don't have to go max on this one, but I won't hesitate to bring it up to a solid plus 15, maybe even to a plus 20 by the end of this build. From here, though, things like I'm going to unlock Knowledge World 2, just because. And then we'll just focus on things like Persuasion and Use Magic Device. From here, of course, staples like Blur for Touch. Keep going Magus. Now officially we are getting another feat here. Okay, let's grab Persuasion up a little bit. This is probably, if you're taking the team with you from start to finish, which I highly recommend, this would be about when you're finishing up Chapter 1, being the Stag Lord, and therefore getting your kingdom, so having a higher Persuasion is probably a good idea. Oh, I should have pointed out, I grabbed the Hair Familiar, for those of you that were wondering what I did for the first pick. Hair Familiar is what I went with, for obvious reasons. High initiative, you know, we want to do sneak attack damage, hence the ninja in the title of the name of the character. We will be using, of course, Sense Vitals then when we get to level 9, so we can do some sneak attack damage early on. Part of the reasons I like this build. Let's grab ourselves Precise Shot. Now we're going to grab ourselves Weapon Focus Ray. And it's not that we really wanted it for Ray spells, not that we're not grabbing them, obviously, but I want to have it for another reason besides Point Blank Master / Weapon Specialization. Now remember, you just need to get Weapon Focus Ray usually before level 11, because that's when you can get both those feats if you play a pure Magus here. So I could have picked up at level 9, but there is a reason for wanting this here. I'm going to show you here in a moment why. We are going to go more Perception, more Arcana, more Persuasion, and from here we want to be able to buff our weapons, so Enduring Blade, Ghost Blade, Bane Blade will still be staples. Level 2, I'm going to grab myself, make sure I got my list right here. Yeah, that sounds like a call. Let's grab that. Going Magus. Now remember, we have medium armor. That's probably the highest armor you want to be wearing, in my opinion. You are a dex-based character after all. You might as well capitalize on the extra dex. Keep yourself lean, so to speak. Get yourself a solid breastplate that's nice mithril version, or chain mail, or scale mail. Hell, there's some decent hide armor out there that's pretty solid. That'll still allow you to capitalize on this high dexterity you're going to have. And remember, it's going to get higher when we cast Reduce Person on ourselves. I definitely want to get Persuasion up a little bit, and let's use Magic Device a little bit of juice as well. From here, we're going to get something that you probably didn't think I was going to grab, because this is not going to be a Corn Against Smash build. You know that because our strength isn't high enough. You need to have Power Attack, which means a strength of 13 or greater. So we're not going to do Corn Against Smash. We're not going to do Dazzling Display, Corn Against Smash / Dreadful Carnage build. However, we do need Dazzling Display for something else. Notice for Dazzling Display, you needed a Weapon Focus. Again, another reason for me wanting to grab Weapon Focus Ray early. Remember, it doesn't matter which weapon we're actually wielding here for this particular part. It's for the next feat that we're grabbing, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. So after Color Spray, we're going to grab ourselves our first actual Ray spell for level 1. Level 3, I'm going to grab myself Displacement / Vampire Touch. Now, going. Now I'm going to invest in Dexterity, Perception up, get the Persuasion up, and Arcana up. Sounds good. I'm going to grab myself here Stinking Cloud. Remember, you're not immune to it, but it's really great for setting up caster types and making them completely screwed over. Magus. Now I think it'll all come together for why I went the way I went. So here's Arcana, Perception, Persuasion twice, get it closer to being caught up here with the Perception. Now, what are we going to grab for our feet? Well, if you go all the way down to the S's, you will see our little bugaboo bastard right here. We can do Shatter Defenses on this build. Remember that all they have to be is shaken, frightened, or panicked. Doesn't matter how they get that way, and they're considered flat-footed. Well, we have spells that will allow us to do a lot of these things. We're not getting a bunch, but there'll be plenty as we level up. that we will pick specifically for that reason. Now I'm going to grab myself Ghost Blade, and for my first spell pick, again we already said what we were grabbing, you might as well come down to Sense Vials and pick it up now. So all the sneak attack loving can begin. From Sneaking Clown, I'm going to grab myself Lightning Bolt for some AoE damage. Remember, Dimension Door is free, so now at level 10, don't pick it by mistake. Get some Arcana, Perception, and Persuasion. Level 2, grab yourself, let's see what was after Sense Vitals here. Web spell time. Crowd control for your character. Now we're grabbing, remember, not Dimension Door, Dragon's Breath, and Stone Skin are staples. If you really want to hold off on Stone Skin, not a bad option. Matter of fact, I think I grabbed last time Greater Invisibility earlier. Remember, we do have Sense Vitals. Why not set yourself up for some easy sneak attack damage? Let's go that route. Magus. Now this is where we actually get our Point Blank Master. Persuasion's finally caught up. And we're going to grab ourselves Weapon Specialization in Ray, and then Point Blank Master Ray. So now we can shoot any of our Ray spells at point blank range, while still poking them in the face with our Rapier, Kukri, whatever melee weapon you're using that's weapon finessable, and still go to town on those guys without provoking attacks of opportunity on ourselves. Level 1, after Snowball, I'm going to grab myself Grease Spell. This is our last one if I'm not mistaken. Yep. And level 4, I'm going to grab... let's grab ourselves... Where you at there, sir? Stone Skin, there it is. Let's see, thought I missed it. So let's grab that Stone Skin now. Keep going. Magus. Dexterity is as high as I'm going to take it, without, of course, stuff. I'm going to leave this at plus 15 for now, because we really need to start catching up to use Magic Device, in my opinion. From here, I don't mind grabbing things like Prescient Attack. As you know, Maximize Magic is a fine option, kind of on you. Which is better, I can't really say. But I do like Prescient Attack for our melee touch attack stuff. Alright, here we go. After Stone Skin, what are we grabbing? Sounds like a Shout time. Crowd control stunning abilities. Going Magus. Now you do have the ability to wear heavy armor. Just because I'm not a fan of it doesn't mean you're not. So feel free to grab yourself a decent amount of plate mail. I highly recommend Mithril though, because your strength is pretty much piss. Now that may change when you get the better belts of Strength, Dex, and Con, but until that time you really keep an eye on your speed. You're not getting that buff to making sure that you can whittle your way out of that stuff. From here though, at level 13, this is probably our first meta magic, first and only, matter of fact. Now you can grab what you want on this one, but again, Empowered is a fine option. Scroll back down to that again. Empowered is a fine option. Extend works extremely well. Remember, we're going to be enchanting things as well, so Extend works beautifully on many of our spells. Reach as well. We're not really worried about DC checks. Remember, we're going to have this enchantment here, another +2. Our Dex is not, or excuse me, our Charisma is not going to be uber, so by any stretch of the imagination, we're not going to be pimped out for the enchantment spells, but you know, every little bit helps. But I do like Empower because, again, if you're going to do damage with your Ray spells, why not Empower them too? That works all the way up to level 4 stuff, obviously, turning them into level 6 castings. So we'll have spells like Snowball that can be empowered. We'll have, of course, Scorching Ray that can be empowered. Probably even Acid Arrow, if I grab it, of course. I'll grab the level 3 version, the Battering Blast, the one with the 4 Force Balls going out. That's really, really nice damage for you. Will actually exceed some of the damage of some of the spells we can do at level 6 no less, which is pretty impressive. Innervation, which can be a nice Ray spell that can be empowered again. That's a level 4 Ray that we can make level 6, and again do 1d4 turns into 1d4 times 1.5, so a maximum of 6 levels that you get straight up screwed from. On that though, New Arcana time to get something to literally lock down a target. What do I suggest? Constricting Coil sounds like a solid enchantment choice. Now, of course, this is level 5, and we just got level 5 spells, so we don't have many castings in a day, so be wary of that. But another way to literally make them helpless and set them up for Sense of Vital sneak attack damage. Level 3, I'm going to grab myself what? Did Lightning Bolt already. Looks like it's time for some extra attacks around for that sneak attack 11. Level 5 stuff. Going to grab myself Cloud Kill for obvious reasons, and I'm going to get Fire Snake because we are teammate friendly. So that should be decent. Magus. Remember, we're getting bonuses to our concentration checks all the time, so now we're up to a solid +5, soon to be a +6. I'm going to grab Perception, Persuasion, and use Magic Device. Level 2, what am I grabbing? I'm going to have Acid Arrow or I have Glitter Dust. There's no wrong answer here, but we don't have Blind Fighting, and if I don't pick it up, I probably would kick myself for not grabbing something like Glitter Dust. Level 5, going to grab myself with the Acidic Spray time. Yep, figured as much. Best damage you have in this category, by the way. Oh, see, 15. I'm going to grab ourselves Perception, Persuasion, and use Magic Device, and I'm actually officially done with this one now. I'm happy with those going only up to +15 by the end of the build. That's usually enough for me. From there, we'll probably dip back into Arcana. Here, though, going to jump right to School Power, grab yourself Enchantment now. Here, grab Bane Blade, and then at level 15 for our pick, it's time to get ourselves some loving for our weapon. How about we grab ourselves some Piranha Strike? We've been missing out on damage all this time. It's a good chance to get it. Level 5. Sounds like a Cone of Cold time. 16 Magus. Now we're working on Charisma. And get back to Arcana again. And from there, level 4. Probably control the Fireball time, yeah? Yeah, sure is. Level 6 now. Well, obviously Hellfire Ray. And then from there, kind of what you feel. But you know me, I like my transformation spell. Magus. Now we can get ourselves Perception, Persuasion, and Arcana twice to get it a little more juice to catch back up. From here, level 17, this is where we're actually double dipping into our Spell Focus and Greater Spell Focus. Now, if you don't feel this part, I can understand it. Remember, we are not really an enchanter, so we're not really good at anything. But having a little bonus to it, turn into a decent bonus to it, is not the worst thing ever. So I'm going to grab Spell Focus Enchantment and Greater Spell Focus Enchantment now. For our new Arcana at level 17, we're grabbing ourselves a spell that I've just come recently into love with. That's an enchantment, and it's called Overwhelming Grief. Single target, but remember, it takes their dexterity away and makes them effectively flat-footed to you, which means you set them up with this, and it's sneak attack damage, sneak attack damage, sneak attack damage. Really, really nice spell. And it's level 4 versus this level 5. From here, let's grab ourselves some slow spell. Level 6. Probably Sirocco is my guess. Yeah, sure enough. Keep going. Magus. Perception, Persuasion, and Arcana. Now, from here, this is, again, your last free pick for this one. Again, we were kind of all over the place here. If you want Wand Wielder here, go for it, man. Your weapon finessing, you probably can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. If you want Maximize Magic now or Quicken Magic now, again, on you, but up to you. Maximize Magic, though, is super fun, and again, there's plenty of ways for us to set up coup de grace. As you know, with us having Empowered Spell here versus the Maximize Magic combined, you know, I can take something like Vampire Touch, empower and maximize it, and get that full guaranteed crit for 180 extra health for an hour. Really, really nice bonus for you. Level 6, after Sirocco, we're picking up Chain Lightning for some AoE damage. Going Magus, Persuasion, Perception, Arcana, a couple points. I'm happy with it being 20. Let's get mobility up just the tiniest bit more. You know what? Trickery. Come on, you know you want it. Up to you, though, for those points. It's kind of silly at this point. But this is your last feat, and this is where we really don't have any kind of preference on anything. I mean, again, we can get improved critical, so your ray spells crit on a 19 or 20 now. You want to have them hit with a +2 instead of a +1. It'll already be +2, by the way, thanks to your point-blank shot. I'm assuming you're shooting within point-blank shot range now that you're a point-blank master, yes? So you could have a +3 to your swing. Just saying, there's reasons to like this build more and more. We can grab Blind Fight if you must. You know, we can grab ourselves Combat Reflexes. You have the dex for it. I mean, there's plenty of choices here. If you don't like any of that, though, I highly recommend things like Dodge for extra armor, or you can get yourself Improved Initiative, so you get another bonus to your initiative checks. Remember, we got a +4 from our hair, and +4 now from our dexterity, and we can get another +4 besides, pushing us at a solid 12. I'm just saying, plenty of reasons to love that. But up to you. If you're not feeling that, again, grab yourself another Meta Magic. If you don't like that, get yourself something to buff a skill. If you don't like that, you know what I'm working towards, right? Grab me another weapon focus. Time to get myself an actual weapon. Let's get ourselves that rapier, yeah? Or longsword. No, we're going to be finessing, so we want the rapier, that's for sure. From here, grab yourself a Bale for Polymorph, just because now free spell picks at level, free 6 spells as we level up at level 19. I have a specific list here, so let's actually work through that list. Level 4 is the first one, and it is Innervation, a nice raise spell. You know we're grabbing the level 3 version as well, Battering Blast. I'm going to grab Obsidian Flow back to level 4 for that one, for some nice crowd control damage. We're going to grab another spell at level 4 called Fear. This will be really nice for setting up your Shatter defenses. If someone else isn't already doing it, we have the ability to set that up now with just this spell to a lot of different targets, which is extremely nice. Sadly, it's a Necromancy spell, so no real buff for us on that. I'm going to skip all the way up to level 6 and grab ourselves Tar Pool. You know my love for that one. And then for our last spell pick here, I'm going to grab another Fear type of spell, Phantasmal Putrefaction. And why do I say Fear type? Because it doesn't really cause them to be afraid, but notice it's a spell descriptor of fear. So, of course, is this, obviously, Fear emotion spell. So, again, two different ways to buff this. We can either do Necromancy buffs or gear that specifically buffs quote-unquote fear spells, which I know exists out there. This one here, again, you could buff specifically illusion spells or fear spells, again, would still get the buff. So again, ways to raise the DC check on these guys. And remember, just because he's not quote-unquote afraid doesn't mean he won't be sleepy. And because he's sleepy, sneak attack damage. Just saying. Really, really nice spell. And again, remember, it's not a sleep spell, it is a sleep type of spell. So, different. For those that are immune to sleep spells, that works out really well for us. Last level, last bonus to Charisma, solid 18, nothing amazing. Again, we're far shy away from our typical +6 over here, but we're remotely horrible. Still have plenty of spells per day. Pretty happy with that. Perception, Persuasion, and Stealth, because why the hell not? Again, you wouldn't do this, so you probably have 3 in mobility by the end of the build, but up to you. Again, I finished with numbers that I'm happy with. Definitely happy with Persuasion, a solid +27 here. 20 for Perception, and remember we get a +2 to that thanks to our pet being out. There's always a bonus to Perception if you have a familiar. Use Magic Devices, my typical +15, but now we managed to finish with a nice solid +20 on Knowledge Arcana, meaning you're quote-unquote the expert in my opinion. And again, all these will go up 5 more points apiece when we get the best belt and best headgear on. Last spell picks, of course, we're going to grab ourselves something like, what are you thinking, Phantasmal Killer, Ice Storm. We don't really have any immunity to those difficult terrain, which is a damn shame. And again, we don't have any real protection either, so, you know, Dragonkind's kind of silly. We could grab another raise spell, Umbral Strike is here, so it's Disintegrate. We get Acid Fog if you must, or Greater Dispel Magic. Again, viable options for anybody, but just kind of pick something and run with it. I'm not real sure which I'd rather have. Umbral Strike or Disintegrate. I kind of like Umbral Strike, and let me rationalize why. If I hit them and, you know, they don't die from it, you know, again, Disintegrate could kill them outright, but if not, Umbral Strike can hit them for solid damage. It's 2 different types of damage, so that's interesting to me. And there's that chance to blind the target, which is extremely nice, because that allows us to set up Sneak Attack 11. Disintegrate would be more damage, but we already have a better damaging spell all the way back here, if you recall. We put some Sneak Attack and Maximize and Empowered on this little bastard, and holy hell, this thing can just do some shit ton of damage to a single target in one combat round. More than this guy is capable of doing, which is hilariously funny to me. So again, I'd rather have the utility of blinding a target than lots and lots of damage, because I already have lots and lots of damage. But it's up to you. I mean, there's really no wrong answer there. And I must admit, that's as silly as it is to say, I like the look of Umbral Strike. It really does look pretty goddamn pip when it flies off your hands. From here, we want to come down here, grab ourselves a nice solid rapier. Let's actually kick the stuff over here. Like, yay. I'm going to sip my coffee, my throat's getting a little scratchy. That's better. Look at my wares. First off, I always like doing that instead of just offer it and just be done with it. Deal with that, and then I want to do name masterwork. Rapier is right there. Poof. Now before we finish here, I would like to check to see what other kind of stuff he has. First crown, what's this thing? That's where the ability to summon 2 Elven Warrior Spirits for 10 minutes twice per day. That sounds cool. Year's Rule, that's for alchemists, I believe, for bombs and stuff. Let's take a look at that just to make sure there's not something in there that's interesting, though. With bombs. Ooh, this is useful. It gains a +2 bonus to saving throws against mind-affecting death, paralysis, disease, stun, poison effects, and resist fatigue for 8 hours past the usual limit. At level 20, the owner becomes immune to fatigue and exhaustion. Now that's interesting. What is this? Is this a bracelet? Can't tell. The owner's bombs, yeah, focusing surge. Ooh, fast healing. So there's 2 of 4 things that we could benefit from for having this on. That's interesting. Cloak of the lightest touch. Wow, Dex gear. That's gloves. +6 to Dex. Bonus to resistance bonus to reflex saving throws. And remember, because your Dex is going up, you're getting more reflex bonus as well, just for the ability enhancement. So that's actually technically a +6 to your reflex saves. Reduce person spell at the 5th level. That's weird. A Cloak of the Bear. Interesting. What was that? Resistance. Oh, resistance and competence bonus to CMD. Spear, great club. Nothing I can really use here. Vast intelligence. Boo. Physical form. Dex and con. That's something. They really don't give us much of anything in this one, did they? Okay, well, that's what it is. Let's get downstairs and attack some things. Now, of course, we put stuff where it belongs. Like, yay. And I'll, of course, put my food rod out here. Let's grab that. I'll want not dazzling display. I want the arcane strike. And I want it piranha strike. Yes, let's put you 3 goobers. Oops. There. I want my enduring blade, and I want ghost blade, bringing energy, and fire. I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, prescient attack, of course. Yes, yes. And I am missing something. I want speed. No, where are you at? There? Yeah. Like so. Okay. Then, before we forget, extend magic, maximize magic. And all these things. Remember, you don't need to have your familiar out to be getting the bonus. That's nice. And spell time. Let's grab our typical buffs. Notice that we do not have our running spell. But we do have Sense Vitals, and you better believe I'm going to grab myself Greater Invis, so we can set ourselves up for some easy sneak attack damage. I'm going to put in all 3 of the touch attacks, specifically because I love using the Vampiric Touch now. And then, of course, we'll put through anything that could be a solid ray spell / crowd control ability. Spell. Let's actually just do all the ray spells now. Innervation, I love that one. That was amazing. And of course this one and that one even. Well, I do want to have my teleport. My love for that. Okay, what am I missing here? Oh, web, of course. Glitter dust, sure. Grab myself Stanky Cloud. Slow spell. I'm going to put out Shout, Overwhelming Grief, Obsidian Flow, Fear. Let's grab ourselves Constricting Coils, and that fills us up. Oh, yeah, I feel good about that. Now, remember, we're going to have a variety of spells that do things like stun, blind, hold, or paralyze, however you want to phrase it. So that's going to be a thing. Anything, though, that basically straight up takes away their dexterity is a boon to us. And not just ones that make them flat-footed, like Overwhelming Grief. I mean things like, Web Spell, anything that's an entanglement, or a grapple type spell. So those would still be interesting to us. buff up. Come on, Brothermutant. Now, I'm going to buff up weirdly. I'm going to grab my typical 3. And I'm going to extend Sense Vitals on myself, but not Invisibility. Now, you may wonder why the hell would you do something that crazy. Well, of course, you don't have greater Invis all the time, and it is precious. So if we can set up sneak attack damage with Sense Vitals without wasting a level 4 or 5 casting of something like greater Invis, well then why would you? So remember, at the start of every fight, if you sneak into the area or just happen to catch them unawares, we have the wonderful ability to sneak attack because it's flat-footed. Right? The fight hasn't even started, we cast our first spell off and we're pretty much guaranteed some sneak attack loving, which is really nice. Bonus to our swing thanks to Weapon Focus Ray. We got a True Magus toggle on, so we're getting a +2 to our swing as well. Our size bonus, because we're teeny tiny person. Dexterity bonus as well from that teeny tiny person, plus all the dex gear that you're going to have on besides. We're rocking a solid hit for a flat-footed touch attack. You're more than likely going to hit that very first target. So be choosy on that target. You know, make sure you're going to hit the guy that you want to hit. Now, of course, I want to make sure to buff my weapon. There we go. Let's go take out this little doofus first. Here's our caster. Let's get off a nice little color spray on her. Now this will be more helpful early levels, obviously. Did she make it? Oh, she made her check. I did overcome her spell resistance though, that's amazing. Let's see here. What was her spell resistance? Oh, it was like 12, okay. Well, we failed on the color spray, but that's alright. That's why we have other spells to do straight up do damage. Now, I should say, let's actually just show you something here first. Let's do, let's see if I can blind her. Saving throw, fail. Okay, so now she should be officially blinded for the duration of that spell. Now let's just here with something as simple as Snowball again. Boom. Solid hit to the face. 5d6 plus 1 cold. Saving throw failed. Surprised it didn't do sneak attack damage though, because she should have been blinded. I guess it wore off already? Oh, yeah, she passed it the second time around. Ah, boo. That's a bummer. I was kind of hoping to showcase that. We'll hit down a different target. That's okay. Can't get them every time. That's why we have extra spells a day. But yeah, if you can blind targets, I'm fairly certain they're flat-footed to you at that point because they don't know when it's coming, so to speak. Now, there may be ways around that, like if they have blind fight, blind sense, or any other kind of extrasensory perception. So, let's see if I can hit this doofus over here with the same type of spell.
Yeah! A test of my abilities.
But back over here, bro.
You should have run.
There we go. That's some beautiful sneak attack loving right there. Scorching Ray, sneak attack hit. Flat-footed touch attack. Just pretty. And again, I managed to walk away so you know that we don't know what the initiative, mine being better than his, has nothing to do with it. Because I literally walked away. It shouldn't have anything to do with the fact that he was last on the totem pole. I can actually probably prove that again by hitting her with the same spell again. Same throw failed. Hit her with that if you would.
Strike. Don't hold back. This will hurt.
There it is. So she hadn't passed her check yet. She failed it a second time. So we managed to catch her with Snowball, flat-footed, touch attack because of the blindness. Really, really nice. And again, that is applicable then for spells like, I don't know, blindness, which again is a necromancy spell.
Impossible.
Something that kind of would have set up a solid necromancy build, now that I think about it. Since we would have had a solid necromancy DC check for blindness.
What a failure.
It would have been a good way to do it. Obviously, you'd still want Sense Vitals in on the build, which I don't think we did on that particular build, now that I think about it. But still, if you wanted to be a Raycaster, undead bastard, you could have a Sense Vitals Raycaster build and have a really good time with it, I think. From there, get this wand in. See Invis. Interesting. So we zip this way. Here we go. Now my Since Vitals is going to wear off in about a minute and change, remember I doubled the duration, which is nice, but you see I'm already burnt up the uses on it. Having said that, going to my spell book, remember we didn't grab Extend. It's probably something you should have thought about. I liked having Empowered for obvious reasons, but it's not the best choice ever. Again, kind of on you on this one. I'm just going to make a couple here real quick. Oh, yeah, Snowball. I'm going to do the race spells specifically. Notice that we're not getting a bunch of spells that are going to get a bonus to the DC check as far as their saves, because many of these spells are just straight up damaging spells. And I'm actually okay with that. It's kind of a rare exception to the rule where, since we're not really a DC based character this time around, I'm not focusing on that so much as I'm focusing on straight up just doing some damage. So kind of on you on that. But again, if you wanted the DC checks higher, highly recommend things like either Extend or Reach for meta magic. Let's grab that Battered Blast, make it free, just disgusting. It's going to be an amazing spell. And I wanted to make sure to grab Innervation, of course. What else do we have? Oh, Dragon's Breath, obvious. And again, just as a reminder, since you have full caster level in this build, that 12d6, I know it's not technically the same thing, but you can think of it as being, the empowered version as being 18d6, because it's 50% stronger. It's not true. They don't roll 18 die. The point is it's 12 is the minimum, times that by 1.5, then again, what is that? That's 18. That's why I say 18d6. Is this just a good enough logic to think about what you're getting for your bang for your buck? Why do I say that? Because if you look at the level 6 spells, remember, we have spells that do damage, 4d6 per round. We have spells that do 15d6 per beam. We have one that does 20d6 of electric. So again, why would you do this one electric versus that one? Well, there's a bonus to the DC check on this, but this one's already casting like a level 6 spell. This one's casting like a level 5 spell. It's level 4 with a +1 DC check. So again, not really the best argument here. But remember, this one has cold, fire, electric, and acid. Just depends on which one you pick. So again, we don't have any acid spells in this level right now. We didn't take Acid Fog. So if you really want a hard-hitting acid or cold spell, we got one right here. So again, the reasons I like going empowered. Up to you, though. I mean, again, there is no wrong answer here. But again, if you wanted a DC build, this is not it. I do want to grab Shout, though, because I do like having it, getting a DC bump. Remember, it does have a save component to it. The stun is not amazing damage. 5d6 will jump up to, well, basically 7d6. 7.5d6, but they did round down. But the point is you get a minimum of 7, a maximum of, what is it, 30, 45 damage on that one. AoE style. Not, again, the best spell you could cast this one, but if you needed sonic damage and level 6, you got nothing else that does that, so here you go. I'm not going to do all these other ones. I did do Innervation, though, already, didn't I? Yes, I did. Okay. I just want to make sure that the raise spells were there.
There's something here. I'm off.
It's weird that the room's already lit up, and that seems odd. Oops, I see a bad guy already. Let's hit him with that one.
This will be quick.
Just pretty. Now see how not every one of them did sneak attack damage, and that's probably because it's 4 different checks. Once the first one hits, he's aware of it. Why he's not aware of the last, 3rd, and 4th one, I can't tell you. There's got to be something with probably the knockback, knockdown component of it where it like freaked him out. Let's see. Where's his save? Sneak attack damage on the first one. It's not showing any kind of save, which is weird because there is a save, right? Yeah, here we go. Bull rush. That's what that basically did, and it did work. So I guess that's their equivalent of a save. It's kind of weird that it doesn't say save though. What a solid hit. I mean, hell, that was pretty. Modifier 55. Good lord, man. That's pretty sweet. Here's our Nixie, and again, we still have sneak attack potential, but we're probably not going to hit her with something like that. But here's our chance to set her up with something like Overwhelming Grief. Right? And that's that beautiful one. Here, let me just show it to you here. That's the one that literally will take away their dex bonus, if any, -2 their armor class as well, so it's even easier to hit them. Not that I need any extra help hitting them. But let's hit him with something like Hellfire Ray. Watch how it's sneak attack love. Just brutal. Oh, that's just sexiness. So again, a solid hit, split between fire and sneak attack damage, and then the other one's unholy damage. Weird how the fire gets the sneak attack damage, though. I can't say as I care. I'm just saying that it seems to be the fire that's hitting versus the unholy that got the sneak attack. But a solid hit, and again, where's our hit on that? Flat-footed touch, -2 as well. So yeah, really easy to set those guys up then for stuff like that. Obviously, if you entangle them with something like Obsidian Flow or Web Spell or I don't have it in here, Tar Pool. Yeah, a variety of ways to nerf their dexterity as well. Again, not the same as being flat-footed, but it is easier to hit them, which of course you must love. So, not bad. Let's see if we can set them up a little fear on this next one. Gotta hurry because I'm running out of time on that sense vials. Oop, looks like I forgot to turn my damn Arcane Strike back on.
Impossible.
Sure is. Alright, just run past that. Oh no, we've been hit. Okay, so let's hit him with the solid fear effect. There we go. And now because they're scared, we do stuff like this. Boom. Why do we get sneak attack damage? Because remember we have shattered defenses. So because they're scared, they're considered flat-footed to us. So again, beautiful combos that you have. And again, I could have picked that spell up sooner. It's a level 4 spell. So I could have picked that up at level, let's see, not 9, but I think the next one went 13. But what did we grab at 13? It was Constricting Coils, which I've yet to use. So let's take this doofus out. And if they were a tougher opponent, something like Constricting Coils, Hold Person, Hold Monster, Icy Prison is another viable option. Would have been a solid way to lock them up. And I can't do it because he's going to straight up die from this. I guarantee it that the next tick is going to kill the bastard. But we'll try. Let's hit him with an Innervation spell. Yeah, kind of figured. So, sad part of these low-level dudes is they die stand quick. You can't really demonstrate many of the effects that we're talking about here. But that's okay. You get the general gist. But again, Innervation, amazing spell. Remember, we have the empowered version of it, so again, it can be stronger if we so choose. Other stuff. Let me see if there's others in the spells that I wanted to talk about. We'll work our way backwards. Remember, stuns has some really nice potential. I can't remember if stuns are enough to cause flat-footedness, but if they do, that's probably one of the other reasons for grabbing something like Shout. Innervation for obvious penalties to their saves. When you do have to land a save spell, here you go. Can't sneak attack that thing, I don't believe. Be fun if it could, because 5d6 is sneak attack level damage event, sweet, but I can't imagine that's a thing. That doesn't mean you can't crit with it, though. And again, it can be empowered, can be maximized, and we do have, if you recall, maximize magic. So there's reasons for this beyond damage. Remember, there's a solid 4 negative levels there and a hit. More if we empower it. More if it crits. So again, really good ways to set up a target. And if you want to have some serious fun, I can't stress enough how much fun it is to hit somebody with this damn battering blast that's empowered. Remember, that's 5d6 per ball. That's 20d6. Let's just round it up and say 20d6 total. And if it's empowered, well, first, if it's maximized, 5d6 turns into 30. So 30 per hit times 4. So that's 120 damage right there, right? But for 30 per hit, if it's empowered, 30 jumps up to 45. So 45 times 4 now, what is that, 160, another 40, 180? Damage guaranteed, assuming you hit, of course, all 4 times, bam, bam, bam. Now, we can sneak attack for all of those as well. That's another 5d6 times 4 if they all hit, and they all hit with sneak attack. Obviously, you want to be greater in Viz when you do something like this, in my opinion, so that they have the potential to always sneak attack. Boom, boom, boom. Or prescient attack is another viable option, which we have right here. So, but again, that's 5d6, 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 and 5d6. So again, we already have 180 damage going out, guaranteed with a maximized empowered version with a prescient attack boost besides. Then you hit him with sneak attack damage, 5d6 times 4. Let's just assume worst case scenario where 5d6 was 5 for all those. That's only 20 damage, right? Only minimum 20 damage for all the sneak attack loving. So that 180 jumps up now to a minimum of 200. What was the maximum for something like disintegrate? Wasn't it 40d6? So it was 40 times 6. 240 is the maximum for that one. Now again, maximum empowered, sure, but you don't have a way to empower it other than meta magic rods, or of course grabbing empowered magic, and therefore you couldn't maximize it then too without a meta magic rod or maximize magic. You can't do both. You got to do one or the other. So 240 is probably about as realistic as you're going to get for something like disintegrate. Remember, this is a level 5 casting versus disintegrate, which is a level 6 casting. So again, I can get damage that's comparable to it. And again, I was working on worst case scenario for sneak attack. What's the chances you're going to hit a 5, 5, 5, 5 4 times? I mean, that's just retarded. It's not going to happen. So more likely than not, you'll be pushing it right near disintegrate level, and it's a level behind, no less. And while yes, there is a check, has nothing to do with the damage. So I really like this spell over something like disintegrate. If you wanted to go something besides enchantment on this build, this one really, in my opinion, lends itself to the evocation abuse, because quite frankly, you are about damage. It's nice to be able to set guys up with our spells. We definitely do so. Doesn't mean that it's your main focus, though. You're not the enchanter. I mean, I know we have that ability because we invested in it, but it wasn't something that was going to be the main focus. Remember that the Infernal Bloodline didn't get any bonus to their enchantments at all. They got it because we invested in spell focus and greater spell focus, which again I did too, but I didn't have to. And again, just because you do or you want to say, remember you have this. I didn't have to go enchantment again. Remember, I grabbed spell focus and greater spell focus here. I could have made this one the evoker, you know, so I have a +2 and a +2. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, diversify or go illusion enchantment. Again, nothing wrong with either of those. Up to you which spells you're going to value more. I just went enchantment because I said the other build was an enchanter build, so we're trying to be comparable. Doesn't mean that's how I would actually make this character. If I were to try to directly compete with him for my best option, I really probably would have gone in power. I probably would have gone evoker. Yeah, and I still would have taken Empower for the meta magic, quite frankly, because I would have rather had all my Empower spells hit and hit hard. They get a bonus to the DC check for the ones that I can buff, and then I have a +2, +4 thanks to my school power for all my evocation spells. Then I have my toggle on. I have a +6. Now we didn't have the highest charisma. That is true. So we are behind, so to speak. But we're not so far behind that I feel bad about it. So the real question here would be, how does this one compare or feel compared to the Infernal? Well, again, we got a lot of plus, not a lot of minus compared to them. So that's really, really nice for us. Now, they capitalize on some resistances that we were never going to get. I want to say they had some bonus to poison saves, as well as probably immunity by the end of their level 20. They definitely got immunity to like things like fire, if I'm not mistaken. So there's stuff that they have that just we will never get. But that doesn't mean you can't find gear that will give it to you. So I'm not particularly worried. As far as spells are concerned, we definitely trounce them all over the place for spells. And definitely better for enchantment than they'll ever be. So I still think we ended with a solid build. Having said that, you know, the fact that we got sneak attack damage, which I think he did too, I mean, it made sense that I would have, being a dex-based character. But if you didn't in the Infernal build, I probably even mentioned it in the video where I said, I'm not grabbing Sense Vitals because you're going to see that all the time. Well, here's where you see it all the time. So again, Sense Vitals is one of those where it's very silly, in my opinion, to pass it up. And there's reasons to do it, but there's not many good ones. Because who doesn't like 5d6 of sneak attack damage? I mean, come on, man. That's amazing, and it is money in the bank when it comes to just straight up damaging somebody, even on a character that doesn't have a good swing. You know, let's say you have like just a 16 dex or a 16 strength build, depending on which way you go. So what? You're still going to hit with stuff like prescient attack, your weapon buffs besides. I mean, you have all kinds of ways to make your character land those attacks, and most likely, I'd say, you've buffed yourselves in a way. I just want to see what that is. You buffed yourself in a way that's going to ensure you're landing with your weapon. For instance, why don't I have a weapon? Did I sell it? Or did I never buy one? Let's go to name. Buy ourselves a rapier +1. There you go. Poof. Okay. There you go. Again, you're going to have plenty of ways to buff your weapon up. I'm not worried about you swinging with a lackluster dexterity score. I mean, I wouldn't go down to like 14 or anything silly. Remember, we also got a buff thanks to our reduced person. Obviously, if you were a strength-wielding character, a viable option would have been, of course, enlarged person for the obvious reasons. A penalty, but a bonus to damage. So again, I still maintain it's a solid option. I'm just trying to see what they had for gear here, guys. Burning aim, what the hell is that thing? +4 the caster's level when they cast falling spells. Ooh, burning arc, burning hands. Control fireball, fire snake, fireball, firestorm, flame strike, hellfire ray, and scorching. Holy hell! This is obviously for those builds that didn't go, like my dragon disciple build. If you went like 10-10 split, and were a fire dragon type, that'd been an amazing amulet for you to wear because you have all those spells and you make sure to use them because you're doing extra damage besides. Remember, you do like an extra point of damage for every die of fire damage if you're a fire dragon. So burning arc could like do 10d6 for that first hit, right? So that'd be 10d6 plus 10. And for every bounce after that, it's like 5d6, so 5d6 plus 5. So pretty nice. The same with something like hellfire ray. Holy hell, 15d6 per beam, 3 beams, and it's 15d6 plus 15. So, whew, Jesus, that's a lot of ooch. Could be fun. Point is though, do I think this is a viable build? Hell yeah, I do. It's not a solo build. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a solid teammate build. And if you look again, just a quick reminder of your skills. You have solid skills for several things. Persuasion and perception are solid. Your knowledge arcana is solid. Your use magic device is more than good enough. And yes, this was silly to put a point here in stealth and trickery. I would have taken those away and put those probably into mobility just to get it a little bit higher. But again, you're a dex-based character, so anything that's dex-based, which again is mobility, stealth, or trickery, you're getting a bonus to because of that high stealth, or high dex, excuse me. And again, we'll get a bonus to stealth when we shrink E-Ink down. Remember, when you use something like reduced person on yourself, you're actually the smaller size category, so you get a +4 to your stealth because of that. Just to show it to you. Boom. Right there, +4 because of size. So again, plenty of reasons to like reduced person and builds like this. You're definitely tough. You're definitely not strong, but strong as far as spells are concerned. You're going to hit the spells that you have. Another reason why I wasn't particularly concerned about DC checks. Remember, if we talk about the spells of interest to you, DC check, but who cares? It's just about the damage. That's what we wanted, and the damage is going to go through whether they make the check or not. There's no DC check. There's a DC check, but again, not for the damage. There's no save at all for this one. I got, where's the last one? Hellfire Ray over here. Beautiful. And, now that I think about it, remember, because we went empowered, so we have a spell at level 1 that's a ray spell. We have one at level 2 that's a ray spell. 2 choices for level 3 that's a ray spell. We have another one at level, 2 at level 4 that are ray spells. We got 1, which is rare for us, that's level 5, that's a ray spell, because normally we don't have one here, remember? So here's a version that's something we can benefit from. And remember, many of those ray spells, the only way you can buff them is going to be either maximize or empower. So again, kind of weird and trippy, but definitely interesting. Now, having said that, how could I have made some that could have gone into the level 4 and 5 category, kind of bolstering innovation as well as giving something here to level 5 that wasn't empowered? Well, if I had went maximized, this could be maximized, that'd be a level 4 casting. This could be maximized, that'd be a level 5 casting. You see what we're doing? This could be maximized, that'd be a level 6 casting, yes. But remember, that would be maximized. Again, we already talked about this one. This one's almost better than the regular version of Disintegrate. So again, yes, you have to hit 4 times, but if you can guarantee or have a pretty good solid chance of hitting 4 times in a row, a maximized version of this is definitely going to be more fun than just a normal version of Disintegrate, in my opinion. Again, the damage will be there, and when Disintegrate fails, because they'll make their DC checks eventually. When they make that DC check and you do 5d6 of damage for a level 6 spell, you're going to be like, really, dude? Whereas this one could have just hit them 4 times in a row, and each one would have been 5d6 maximized, so it would have been 30, 30, 30, 30 for anything that hit them. Yes, you could only hit them 0 times, you could hit them once, twice, 3 or 4 times if you're lucky. But again, even if they make the save, who cares? Had nothing to do with the damage. So again, amazing spells that you'll have for doing race spells. So I kind of really dig this. You could have just as easily, though, you know, I say maximize, but you could have just as easily have gone, not extend. Let's be real clear on this. Extend would have been the worst idea ever. You could extend this one because there is a duration, 1 round. Can't extend that one. You can't extend this one, I don't think, because there's no duration to it. They just get knocked down. That's not a duration. That's just an effect. There's a duration to this, so you may be able to extend this one to level 5, which is something, because then again you got 1 for every category is the real issue here. So 1, 2, 3, this would be 4. 5th version would be this one extended, if it works. That'd be a thing. And then at 6 you have, of course, your Hellfire Ray, but again, you're not getting extra castings of them. There's only like 1 per level, except for the innovation one. But on that, going back to my point, reach for meta magic would have been a viable option for any of these race spells, because the range is close, could have been reached. Range is close, it could have been reached. Range is close, could have been reached. Innervation, range is close, could have been reached. So again, all could have gone 1 level higher. So I could have 2 levels of snowballs, 2 levels of scorching rays, 2 levels of battering blast, 2 levels of innervation, and then only 1 level of Hellfire Ray / Umbo Strike, but that was always going to be the same. And more still. Remember, you can make that a race spell, right? If you have reach on it. So I could have 2 levels of Shocking Grasp, one of which would have been a reach spell. So I could have an electric attack at range, is what I'm telling you. I could have had a cold attack at range. And I could have had a, what is this, unholy damage at range. So again, plenty of reasons to want reach that I didn't take, that you could have done. Just saying. Now remember, cones you can't reach, so that's a thing, and many of our AoE damages, like our lightning bolt, our controlled fireball, shout, dragon's breath, you can't reach those because they're cones or they're already at long range, which you can't increase. So that's a thing. But for all the ones that you want to hit, overwhelming grief, it'd been nice to be able to set those up a little easier, right? Close is really close. Now obviously we have greater invisibility to get away with shit like that, but it'd been really nice to have a +1 DC check to that thing because we had put reach on it, right, at a higher DC check. So a nice +1 to that guy would have been really, really nice, and it would have shot a little farther, which is always awesome. I would have liked using things like Phantasmal Killer at long range, just to start the fight out, just to be complete another jerk, maybe get lucky, hit that one dude where he just straight up just fails his check and takes damage and dies. You know, that rogue, for instance, that you just scared the shit out of and he just croaks. Constricting Coils, you could have reached that one. So again, another casting of it, which I didn't get, because even though it has the dot, remember, it's empowered. I can't empower it. It would have been a level 7 casting. So all these 5 and 6 spells, I'm not getting any use out of those dots. But I could have, you know, extend, or I could have done reach, and many of these would have gotten a buff. Not all, but many. So again, up to you which you value more. On this particular instance, I still maintain that empowered was a solid choice. And again, with the ability to lock a target up with, find it. Where are you at? Constricting Coils, for instance, or Phantasmal Putrefaction, when remember they put them to sleep. Coup de grace potential, right? Same with the paralysis spell of Constricting Coils, or any other hold monster, hold person, icy prison type spells, Chains of Light, whatever you do. Lock them up, put them to sleep, whatever you can do to do that, and then you have the potential to do something like my favorite lately, the empowered meta magic version of Vampiric Touch, where it's a guaranteed crit. Oh, freaking coup de grace that bastard, man. Get yourself that 180 extra health. You know that shit's awesome. And look at our character already. We're rocking a solid 163 health right now, thanks to the high con that we have. You're going to get better gear than that, right? But let's just say when you get the 163, add 180 to that. So you got 343 health for 1 hour. Just because you put someone to sleep and coup de grace that bastard with the empowered maximized version of one spell. Hell yeah, I'll set that shit up every day. That'd be an amazing way to run around a damn dungeon with, you know, maximum health. And if I'm not mistaken, they take from the fake health first. So again, if you know you burn it all up, oh well, that's fine. If not, then you had it for an hour at least, and then you never had to worry about having a heal spell cast on you. That's pretty sweet. So there's a lot of reasons to like this. Just a quick reminder of some spells that are interesting to us. Remember, Grease is amazing from start to finish, but remember, when you have them on the prone, knocked down like that, they get a bonus to their armor class against our raise spells. It's not of concern. Remember, we got enough bonus to our swing anyway. The fact that they get a +4, we're getting a +2 because it's point blank shot, I'm assuming, and of course we have weapon focus ray, so we have a +2 to our swing already. So he's better than us, but not by much. And it is a touch attack still, so there is that. Plus a reduced person besides gives us a couple other reasons to be higher. So yeah, after everything's said and done, we're probably a wash as far as that's concerned. So that's not of concern really. Color spray early on is amazing, as you know, but then it rapidly falls out of favor. 5 HD can still be affected or more for a stun, and that's cool, but 1 round is not enough. Obviously, if you extended it, that'd be different. Remember, I grabbed the empowered version, but doesn't mean that I couldn't have grabbed the extended version. And again, I have the ability to extend it. Remember, I grabbed extended magic, so I could click that, cast this spell, stun them for potentially 2 rounds then if it hits, and that's a thing. And if that's good enough, then I have the potential to set up something like a coup de grace. That's my point here, is I want to be able to set up something like a coup de grace, and that can be nice. From there, other stuff. Web spell, don't forget, minus to their dex, minus to their reflexes, minus to their swing. All kinds of buffs there. Blind, massive penalties to them. They're flat-footed if they're blind as well. Amazing for you. And then we didn't take blind fight, so another reason to want this spell. I read somewhere online that people were saying that displacement was setting up things like sneak attack, and I don't see it. So either they patched it out or they're mistaken. More likely than not, they're mistaken, and I'm not picking on them. I'm just saying I found a lot of those tooltips were like, I'm getting sneak attacked by all these damn spiders. You're surrounded by them, right? Yeah. Well, that's probably why, because you're flanked. And flanking in this game is amazing for setting up sneak attack. This has always been a thing, so that's not going away. So just make sure you're flanking them with your friend and you can get sneak attacks. But my point for this build was, I don't like relying on having to have a buddy up in the front with me. You know, he could be, or she could be over here busy doing something else where I just want to take out that wizard. Well, what's the best way of taking him out? Well, for me, sneak attack damage. Extra 5d6 per beam. And remember, I have multiple spells here that have multiple beams. Here's 3 beams. That could be 4d6 times 3, and then 5d6 for each of those sneak attacking, if I'm lucky enough to make them all sneak attack. So that's 96 of damage times 3, technically speaking. Boom, boom, boom in the face. Or this one here, 5d6 times 4, plus another 5d6 times 4 if all of them sneak attack. So again, that's a big hawk and wump on one target. Where else? Where'd you go? There it is. Hellfire Ray. Again, 15d6 times 3 if they all hit, and 5d6 times 3 for each of those for sneak attack damage. That's a 20d6 times 3. That's 60d6 of damage, single target if you set it up. And it doesn't take much to set it up, is my point. So we have lots and lots of ways to do that. Make him sleepy, that'll do it. Hit them with a paralysis spell, that'll do it. Some of these weird ones, like color spray early on was setting it up, and I don't know why, but I can't really tell you why. I think it's the blinded part, because they're blinded, stunned, and knocked prone. Knocking prone doesn't seem to do it, and I don't know about the stun, but it seems to be one of those where I just can't imagine that that's a thing. But maybe I'm mistaken on that, and if it is, that's great. There's another reason to like stun spells, but there's not many of those in our build. Color spray's one, another stun spell, not staggered. Blind for glitter dust, of course. I know I have another stun. Where the hell did it go? Nope, 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 nope. There it is. Shout. A decent stun spell. Again, only 1 round though, so you hit him with it, and then cast your next ray spell in his face if you manage to get that out before the stun wears off. Maybe, but I don't know that. It's one of those where you have to be really quick on the draw on that one. But having said that, there's nothing wrong. Remember, you are a magus, so you can cast spells and attack in the same round. Nothing wrong with that. So if stun sets up sneak attack, there's no reason you can't sneak attack with that weapon finessable rapier in your hand. Just saying. There's a lot of reasons to like this though build, is what I'm saying. It's not amazing. It's not my best one ever. I definitely think it's solid though, and it's definitely a strong contender against the Infernal Bloodline. With that though, I think that's all I really want to say, guys. Now I will still work on Celestial and Serpentine. Serpentine, just so we're clear, will be the one that's probably a conjuration again, which is more of the same. We saw that for the Dragon Disciple build. But I will take it the opposite direction too. What do I mean by that? Instead of being conjuration / acid focused, remember that's the way that one did it. I'm gonna actually go conjuration / summoning focus, which means augment summoning, superior summoning will be the 2 feats that I grabbed there. Having said that, the obvious, to me anyway, meta magic to grab if I'm limited, which I don't know that I will be, but if I'm limited to just one, will be extend, because those summons straight up suck, man. They take forever to summon them in the first place, and then the little bastards are gone in like 2 minutes max. So that's some garbage. So having extended versions will probably be the way to go there. Now whether I just do extended magic like this and use that for them, or I get the actual extended meta magic feat to buff them up that way so that I can just make sure they're always out, I can't say. I'll have to look at my other spells to see what I'm going for the Serpentine build. Can't remember what he went, because that little bastard, he was all, I mean, I know I'm deviating from this build, but we're already talking about the next one. But the Serpentine build was all over the place. I mean, he had like poison spells, the necromancy, he had some conjuration spells he was given for free, I remember that, because he had the Den of Vermin. Yeah, that was amazing spell-like ability. And he had the free level 3 summon monster. And I think we even picked up the level 6 version because we went evil, right? He had snake bite and all the armor that came with that, so that's something I can't compete with. I want to say he had enchantment spells or illusion spells. I want to say it was enchantments, because I think he had hypnotism for free, but I think he may have had like hold person or hold monster for free as well. Little bastard, like I said, he was all over the place. He had a little bit of this, he had a conjuration, he had a transformation or transmutation spell, he had enchantment spell, he had an illusion spell. He was all over the damn place, man. Maybe he was an enchanter though. I'll have to look at that guy again, see what he did. But I think I can make a solid case for that one. Again, it's still, I mean, plenty of things that he gets, you know, the snake armor being a fine example, as well as the delayed poison spell I can't mimic, that I can't compete with. But I have plenty of spell buffs that I can slap on myself that'll put my fortitude high enough that I'm not as concerned. Doesn't mean I'm stepping into Cloud Kill. Hell no. But, you know, Stinking Cloud, yeah, I could probably muster it for a minute or two without worrying too much about failing that check. But yeah, it's gonna be true. No, actually, I take that back, because we're gonna bump Conjuration. Jesus, no, it's gonna be even worse than I think. I'll have to make sure that we talk about having someone on the team that gives you delayed poison, or you find some specific piece of gear that makes you immune to poisons. That's going to be key and crucial for that build, I got a feeling, just to make it as fun as I want it to be. Anyway, that's for later. But we still have that one to do, and we still have the Celestial one to do, and I have no idea how I'm going to do that one, guys. But I'll figure it out. With that, though, my name is Brothermutant. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. What do you guys want after these videos are done, by the way? I mean, I'm obviously going to go back to playing the game, so the Let's Play that I've been working on all this time, still sitting there, got to dust them off and found out where the hell I'm at. But it's still something that I'm going to do. But is there another type of build you'd like to see? You want me to work on something like, what can I compare for like paladins, or maybe you want to see what a straight up monk build looks like? You know, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye now.